For 2018, I really expect to see increased interest in a broad spectrum of sustainability-related, sustainable development goals related to conservation issues, maybe in particular around oceans. Also, I hope to see more tested securitization techniques applied to conservation issues at stake.
So we've worked with a range of corporates over a range of supply chains, and we're seeing a lot of interest in particular around more consumer-facing products. So things like you would imagine like coffee or cocoa or tea, where that end product is really the end product that the consumer kind of recognizes and wants to have a sustainability story around. I think still on like sugar, for instance, in sub-Saharan Africa, we're definitely seeing some work around, trying to have water use efficiency, trying to create better livelihoods for smallholder farmers. So we're generally excited about how corporates are getting engaged in this space, and hope to see more both through their CSR programs as well as through their just general business.
The pioneering entities and organizations and project developers are starting to really understand that, quote unquote, if we're going to try to solve planetary scale problems, that the kinds of models that we have to be scalable and repeatable. And they're starting to realize that a bespoke, customized answer doesn't allow for scalability. And I think that realization is starting to change the way they approach the development of partnerships, projects.
I think that the biggest challenge that foundation faces is one of mindset, because I think we have, a traditional view of thinking about us being separate, like the philanthropic sector being very different from the business world, and really that has to change. We have to think about how is it that we as a philanthropic institution can work much more effectively in leveraging private sector capital, whilst also, of course, ensuring the integrity, the environmental integrity, and also obviously social as well, of these new products that are coming to market.
Currently, the security cushion that sits in public funding is actually not used to attract private capital into the market. And that can be changed. It will create a completely new community of practice working together between different parts of the financial community that currently don't talk. But if that happens, there's a realistic chance for SDGs not only to be a vision, but really to be funded.
A lot of what we need to do in conservation finance is place-based. We want to know if those interventions will work there, but the science and the work that's done to make sure those interventions work in place needs to be scaled. So we're looking to big data techniques to help us bring that to scale and localize these interventions and this type of analysis to a whole variety of geographic areas. That'll enable investors to look at something, a particular solution across, say, a whole value chain of a corporate or across a portfolio for investment, or a particular solution in a variety of areas, and hopefully build an investment portfolio.
We see that it's essential to play a role in crowding in more private finance into this important area. And from our perspective, we can do this in a number of ways. One way is to use our financing to do what the private sector cannot do. So for example, to use our money to provide guarantees, first loss facilities, and to really help to allay real or perceived fears of a lack of track record that might be out there. To use our money to pay for technical assistance, to specifically help with project preparation, to help to foster the bankability and the maturity of some of the projects that are coming to us, which might not be quite ready to take on a loan yet.
I think there's a few roles that we can play in scaling up the market. We've got tremendous relationship with high net worth individuals, big foundations, big investors. There's much more of an interest now towards sustainable finance, aligning the objectives of your investments, not just with financial returns, but with the overall returns you want to see. I think that's one important element. A second thing is our access to smart debt and equity financing. We're going to need literally trillions of dollars to come into this sector to change the world to a more sustainable platform. Accessing big-scale debt offerings, equity, structured financing is something Credit Suisse has always been a leader in, and I think we're going to need to be a leader in this area as well.